always thought sleep paralysis was just a quirk of the human brain, unnerving, sure, but harmless. That belief shattered the night something touched me back. It wasn't the paralysis that terrified me. It was the feeling of someone breathing into my mouth. This happened in 2016, during a period when I barely slept. I was in college, juggling exams and a part-time job, and I'd routinely fall asleep in whatever position my body collapsed into. That night, I remember lying sideways on my right cheek, facing the wall, still half-dressed from studying. At some point, after drifting off, I started dreaming that I was sinking underwater. The muffled pressure in my ears grew tighter, and a sound like someone whispering through cupped hands floated down to me. I woke up instantly, but I couldn't move. My eyes were half open, staring at the pale shape of my wall lit by the hallway nightlight. I tried to inhale deeply to calm myself, but my chest wouldn't expand. What made it worse was the strange sensation, a warm breath against my lips, as if someone was lying directly in front of my face. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe my exhale was bouncing back at me. Maybe the warmth was just my skin. But then the breath changed rhythm. It became longer, deeper, not mine. A cold realization slid through me. There was someone breathing into my mouth. My eyelids fluttered as I tried to look without moving my head. A dark blur hovered inches from me. I felt the air shift as it inhaled sharply, then exhaled a slow, warm stream directly into me. I wanted to scream. Instead, a strangled whimper vibrated uselessly in my throat. The breathing grew faster, more frantic. The exhale became almost aggressive, like the thing was trying to push itself inside me. I felt its lips brush mine. Every instinct I had screamed at me to jerk away, but my body stayed locked, numb, useless. Then something wet, a tongue, dragged along my bottom lip. My entire body surged with adrenaline. My heart pounded so violently I thought it would break through my ribs. Then it whispered, not into my ear, not from across the room, into my mouth. You're sharing your body. The voice was low, gurgling, as though filled with fluid. I tried to recoil, to twist my head away, but only my eyes could move just enough to see the vague outline of a face pressing against mine. No features, no eyes, only the shape of a mouth stretched too wide. Its next breath sucked the air out of me. My lungs spasmed in panic. You're letting me in, it whispered again. My vision started to darken. The room dimmed to a collapsing tunnel. Then, all at once, I inhaled sharply, and the thing vanished. I sat up violently, coughing and spitting, as though trying to expel something invisible from my throat. The room was empty, just the faint hum of my mini-fridge and the glow of the hallway light. But the smell of rotting water lingered in front of my face for several seconds longer. For weeks after, I couldn't sleep on my side. Every time I drifted off facing the wall, I felt phantom warmth on my lips, like someone was leaning in, waiting for my body to lock again. And sometimes on particularly exhausted nights I still hear the gurgling whisper echoing inside my chest, not my ears. You're letting me in. I haven't slept facing a wall since.
I used to think the Shadow Man was just an internet meme, one of those repeatable stories people tell because they like being scared. Then I met him, and the worst part wasn't seeing him. It was realizing he wasn't hallucinated. He didn't just watch me during sleep paralysis. He followed me into my waking life. This happened 2 years ago when I moved into a small basement apartment. The landlord was upfront about the humidity, the lack of windows, the creaking pipes. I didn't care. I just needed something cheap and close to work. My sleep schedule became a mess almost immediately. No sunlight meant I woke up confused, never sure if it was 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. After a few weeks, I started experiencing sleep paralysis again, a problem I thought I'd left behind in childhood. The first time was mild. I woke up frozen, chest tight, unable to turn my head. A blurry shape stood near the doorway, barely visible, like a cutout from the dark. The second episode came 3 nights later. This time the shadow was closer, beside the foot of my bed. Tall, with a suggestion of shoulders and a head that seemed too narrow. I tried to convince myself it was normal. Stress, poor sleep, my basement room casting weird shadows. But the third time shattered all excuses. I woke up flat on my back, a position I never sleep in. My body was locked, my breath came shallow. I stared at the ceiling, waiting for the familiar panic. Except the room was silent. Too silent. Then something moved. A long, ink-dark arm stretched down from above my face, from the ceiling. Its fingers unfurled like dripping tar, reaching toward my eyes. I tried to shut them tight, but I couldn't move. The hand hovered just millimeters above my face, trembling, almost curious. The shadow leaned lower. I felt its weight bending the air around me. No eyes, no face, just a sharp void where a head should be. It didn't touch me. It seeped into me. The darkness bled downward, like someone wringing out a cloth. It poured into my nose, my mouth, my chest. I couldn't scream. I couldn't breathe. Something cold and heavy crawled inside, coiling in my lungs. Then, in a voice like wind through broken glass, "I found you awake." My paralysis snapped. I bolted upright, choking, clawing at my throat. The room was empty. No shadow, no figure. But a dark stain, like soot, clung to the ceiling above my bed. No matter how many times I scrubbed it, it wouldn't come off. The sleep paralysis episodes became less frequent after that. Not because the shadow man stopped coming, but because he didn't need to visit me in sleep anymore. I'd catch him in my peripheral vision while I was awake, standing behind open doors, reflected in dark windows, lingering at the end of hallways. My therapist says it's trauma-induced hallucination. But last month, a friend came to stay with me. At 3:12, she shook me awake, pale and shaking. "Someone's in your room," she whispered. "A tall man, standing in the corner." I didn't sleep at all after that. The shadow man wasn't a hallucination. He was a house guest.
People think sleep paralysis is terrifying because your body shuts down, but that's not the real horror. The real horror is what wakes you up. I didn't wake from my sleep paralysis because I heard something. I woke because something lifted my hand. This story took place last winter, during a storm that knocked out half the power in my neighborhood. My house went completely dark, except for a battery-powered lamp glowing weakly in the hallway. I fell asleep around midnight, bundled under 3 blankets. Sometime later, I woke up completely still. My eyes were open, staring at the sliver of hallway light under my door. The storm had quieted, but the silence felt unnaturally thick, as if the whole house was holding its breath. Then I realized I was holding mine too. My body was paralyzed, familiar, unpleasant, but not unusual for me. I tried to calm myself, focusing on micro breaths. That's when my right hand rose off the bed, slowly, deliberately, lifted by something that wasn't me. My fingers curled upward as though hooked by invisible threads. Panic rushed through me, but my chest barely moved. My hand hovered in the cold air, suspended several inches above my body. Then it turned, palm up, like it was offering itself to someone. I felt the mattress dip beside me. Whatever sat there was heavy. Its weight pressed the springs deep. My hand lowered until it met something colder than ice. Not skin, not air. A shape. Fingers. Someone interlocked their hand with mine. The grip tightened as if testing me, feeling the bones in my fingers, comparing. I tried to yank away. Nothing moved except my widening eyes. Then the mattress shifted more. The weight crawled closer, inching toward my chest. I felt a cold breath spread across my collarbone. Something leaned low enough that I could sense a face hovering inches above mine. A voice whispered, not into my ear, but straight through my skull. "You're still warm." My hand squeezed involuntarily, or maybe it squeezed harder. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. Every nerve felt like it was being inspected, cataloged, claimed. The presence slid across me, its weight traveling up my ribs, my sternum. I could feel its shape now, tall, elongated, limbs slightly wrong. Its breath smelled like damp earth. Then it said, "I want to see your face." Cold fingers closed around my jaw, forcing my head to turn toward the shadow beside me. I felt its grip tighten, then freeze. The paralysis snapped. I lunged off the bed so violently that I crashed onto the floor, knocking over a water bottle. My hand was still tingling, as if freshly gripped. When I looked up, the bed was caved in where something had sat. The blanket was still indented by fingers. I didn't sleep in that room again. For nights, I stayed on the couch in the living room. But a week later, while sorting laundry, I noticed something on my bedsheet. A perfect, unmistakable handprint. Not mine. Longer fingers, thinner palm, pressed deep into the fabric as though by a weight that shouldn't be possible. And my right hand? It still tingles when I lie down at night, almost like something is waiting to lift it again.